Welcome back! In our last lesson, we started learning about the HTML canvas element. And what we did is we went ahead and we set up our HTML page to go ahead and create this canvas element. And then we learned how we could style it using CSS. And we gave our element an ID so that we could start interacting with the JavaScript. So in this lesson, we're going to learn how we can reference our canvas element through JavaScript. And we're going to learn how we start interacting with it by grabbing its content and drawing different elements to the canvas. So to get started, if you go into your project folder, if you can go ahead and go into the 39-canvas drawing folder and the start subfolder, if you can open up main.js, then in your browser, if you can go ahead and open up the index.html page, you should see canvas drawing on the page. So as I mentioned in a previous lesson, to actually draw anything to our canvas element, we actually need to interact with it through a script. So we need to do that through JavaScript. So to do this, we actually need to get a reference to our DOM element here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to our start folder, and I'm going to go ahead and open up the index.html page. And so if you recall, we gave our canvas an ID of my canvas. So in JavaScript, there is a method we can utilize to get a reference to an element by its ID. So to do this, the first thing we're going to do is let's go ahead and create a variable. So I'm going to do const, and we'll go ahead and do canvas. And then I'm going to go ahead and set it equal to document. And so document is another global variable that's available on our page. And this object is going to refer to the root node of our HTML document. And then this is how we can interact with the elements on our page. So we can do document and then get element by ID. And then this method will take one argument, and it's going to be it'll be the element ID. So we're going to go ahead and pass in a string. We're going to call it my canvas, since that's the ID of our canvas object. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a console.log, and I'm going to log our canvas variable. So if we go ahead and save and refresh, so you'll see right in our console, we get a reference to our canvas element on our page. So you'll see the full HTML element. So we have our canvas, our ID, and our width and height. And so by getting a reference to this element, we can now interact with it. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of our console log. So the next thing we need to do is create a drawing object for our canvas. And this is referred to the context on our canvas element. So to do this, we're just going to make a new variable. So we'll do const, and we'll do ctx for context, and we'll set it equal to canvas.getContext. And then we're going to go ahead and get the 2D context. So then I'm going to go ahead and just do a console log, and let's go ahead and log our ctx variable. So go ahead and save and refresh. You'll see we get a brand new object returned to our console, and this is a canvas rendering context 2D object. So this object will have properties and methods that we can utilize for drawing to our canvas. And without our canvas context, we're not able to actually interact and draw on our canvas. So just as an example, to name a few things, you'll see we have things like stroke style, fill style. So if we draw anything to our canvas, it's going to go ahead and inherit those and use those styles. If we want to write text to our canvas element, it's going to go ahead and use information from our font property. So it's going to have this font size and this font family. And so all the properties on here will dictate what happens on our canvas here. So we have to interact with this object and change this to get the results we want on our canvas. So now that we have our canvas context, the first thing we're going to go ahead and do is we need to go ahead and update our fill style. So we're going to go ahead and do ctx, and then we can go ahead and use the fill style property, and we're going to go ahead and set this equal to red. So we'll do our hashtag followed by FF and then 4 zeros. So as I mentioned, the context object has built-in methods that we can utilize for drawing. So we're going to go ahead and draw a rectangle onto our canvas. So to do this, we're going to do ctx dot fill rectangle. And then our fill rectangle method is going to take 4 arguments. The first 2 will be the x and y position of our rectangle, and then the next 2 will be the width and height of our rectangle object. So we're going to go ahead and do 0, 0, and we'll do 100, and we'll do 50. So if we go ahead and save and refresh, we should see a rectangle appear on our canvas. Alright, so what happened here is when we called the fill rectangle method, we had to specify an x and y starting position for our element. And in our canvas element here, our coordinates will start in the top left corner, and it's going to be 0, 0. And as we move to the right, this will be our x value, and it will increase in value. And then same thing with our y position, it's going to go down this way, and as we move down our page, this value will increase. So if I change this to 50, and we save and refresh, you'll see my rectangle moves over to this position, and we start at 50, 0. If we change this to 50, 50, and we go ahead and save and refresh, you'll see we come over 50, we go down 50, and now we start drawing at this position. And then next, we specified how many pixels we wanted our rectangle to be wide and how many pixels we want it to be tall. So then we go ahead and draw 100 pixels over and then 50 pixels down, and that's how we get our rectangle here.